Okay, day 37, and the defense for the government response to my last argument, well, national security, George, terrorism, we need to have the ability to follow everyone. Well, I would say that there's the interest of the people who have done nothing wrong, that are just journalists exercising their First Amendment right, or even just regular people celebrating their right to gather, to converse, free speech, right? And there's the GPS technology that we have, that Imran has. So if someone does commit a crime against society, we can give them a GPS. So we have a way of delineating between people who commit crimes and those that don't. They can even make the GPS look like a kind of a cool wristwatch. It doesn't have to be a big, ugly ankle bracelet anymore. It can be kind of a fashion statement. So this is where I'm saying, collecting it all and then moving terabytes overseas to Pakistan, look at the history, look at the record of DHS. They've put a spy ring in our Congress, paying them all $160,000 a year, moving hundreds of transactions to Pakistan, terabytes of data to Pakistan. And I believe, and I'll show, that they're actually writing, instead of using that technology to stop terrorism, they're actually using it to attack people in the United States, to target people that disagree with the government's position on a whole host of constitutional issues. Journalists especially, but civil rights groups as well. And the performance here has never been clear. The contrasts have never been clear. That the people that we should be watching that have ties to LET, SPS, different terrorist groups in Pakistan, are the ones actually getting the data. They're actually getting the transcripts of our secret testimony in our most sensitive committees, where the American people are not. The application that I'm going to show that they're writing for DHS is going to be a satellite-based application to take away exactly the rights I just spoke about. So the argument that the government needs this to fight terrorism is specious. It's specious because their performance and their behavior has shown exactly the opposite. So the big goal here is not just to get the spy ring out of Congress. It's not just to amend the Fourth Amendment to give it some teeth, to update it, to talk about geolocation in all of its forms is illegal. If you want to track somebody, if you want to geolocate somebody, if you want to make a Dred Scott situation, you give them an ankle bracelet. And that way everyone knows who's being tracked and who isn't being tracked. And it can be done in a very subtle way where no one will know that person is being tracked. So that's my very fundamental long-term goal, is to restore the fundamental rights that the founders intended by amending the Fourth Amendment to make clear, or the court could just issue a ruling that clearly defines that what the founders meant was, by unreasonable search and seizure, was that you would not be tracked. So we wouldn't have to fight case law, with Carpenter and so forth. We would have to fight these court cases in lower courts and then have to fight it out in the Supreme Court. In the Carpenter case, they could just rule that the founders intended that until you do something wrong, you don't lose your fundamental rights. You don't lose your fundamental rights by default and then win them back by exception by suing to get them back, like I'm having to do. So I don't wear an ankle bracelet, by the way, and I haven't done anything wrong. But I certainly have been falsely imprisoned longer than all the Awans in the spy ring have served up until this time. As a matter of fact, my mugshot's been published when I was a free and innocent man, did nothing wrong, and Imran still has not.